Good morning, everyone. Good morning from CBC Dubai. I'm really excited about today because we have, as they say, we're just really lucky. We're just lucky in general. It is a special day. It is a special day to be a woman. It's a special day, super special day to be a Canadian woman. I always get goosebumps. What is this? And that being said, I just want to say this is special for us, especially at CBC Dubai, because we're kicking off with our very own ambassador, Marcy Grossman, and all our friends at the Connect Women in Business Group, or as some of us like to call it, business-minded women. So we just want to make sure that it is kicked off as it is. It is going to be an interactive session. At a certain point, we will be hopefully turning on the screens, at least your mics. And we'd like just to have a good old chat on how we will leave our legacy at Expo and many other ways. So I'm going to get off my soapbox for 30 seconds. Thank everybody at CBC. Thank the consulate. Thank all our friends for really working towards this. And this is the moment where I would like to introduce Ruda, our chairman. Oh my goodness, I've seen he's popped out, so I'm not going to be introducing him right away. Maithili, how about I say hello to you and you step on in until we find Ruda again. Thanks.
Sure. So I am very excited to moderate our first Women in Business Connect group event. We actually chose to have our first event on International Women's Day because we wanted to celebrate the achievements of women, and there is no better way to do so than to have Her Excellency Marcy Grossman, the Ambassador of Canada, talk to us about Expo 2020 and how women can participate. She'll have a presentation for us on Expo 2020, and after her presentation, I'll open the floor to questions. And I'm really looking forward to having an interesting discussion. Like Diana said, we really wanted to make this a tight-knit community. So before we start, since today is all about celebrating the achievements of women, let me tell you that Her Excellency Marcy Grossman has a lot to celebrate. She has been in public service for 28 years and has held several management positions across the Canadian government, including Industry Canada and the Treasury Board. She joined the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade in 2001 and worked as Canada's Consul General in the US and then in Dubai and Northern Emirates. She was appointed Ambassador of Canada to UAE in 2019 and has always been a great supporter of CBC. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us. I think you had mentioned that you have I think 1 million women's events today, but we really appreciate your time here. And honestly, congratulations on such an inspiring career too. So I'll let you take over.
Thanks. Thank you for the intro, and I think Ruda has rejoined us. So just before I begin, I will welcome Ruda to the first Women Business Connect Forum, and welcome you to say a few words to our group this morning, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Echoing Diana's sentiments at the beginning of this conversation, it is remarkable how reliably Zoom will crash, just as I'm about to start speaking. Hi everyone, and welcome to and happy International Women's Day, and welcome to the first ever event hosted by the CBC's Women in Business Connect Group, and as Diana said, a connect group primarily for women in leadership who are looking to advance their careers and to help other women succeed as well. For over 25 years, the CBC has focused on helping Canadians and Canadian alumni in the UAE help build relationships and their knowledge in order to succeed in the UAE. One of our objectives over the past year has been on building smaller communities within our membership that more closely align with each of our membership's interests and specialties. And this is what we are calling the Connect Groups. And I want to introduce you to the CBC's Women in Business Connect Group, which is one of our premier Connect Groups for the coming year. And in particular, I want to have the honor of introducing one of the leaders of the Women in Business Connect Group, Maithili, who has also agreed to take time to moderate this discussion as well. And then I will quickly get out of the way. So Maithili, following her graduation with BComs, BCL, and LLB degrees from McGill, Maithili received her MBA from Chicago's Booth School of Business before taking on positions as a corporate lawyer in Toronto and as a senior product manager at Amazon in Seattle and New York. And then at Kinderville, which is Canada's largest early childcare provider. At Kinderville, she handled their operations and their growth. And she recently founded and is the founder and CEO of KinderPass, which is an all-in-one management platform for childcare centers, preschools, and daycares. I believe, Maithili, I'm going to give the floor back to you. Thank you very much for taking the time. And I'm looking forward to a fantastic conversation. Maithili, everyone, is a real rock star. So I'm really excited for this conversation.
Thank you. I'll pay you the money I owe you for that. So we actually, he speaks so highly of me because we actually were classmates at McGill together. So it works out for me. Well, while you were gone, Ruda, we actually did introduce Her Excellency, and I was just about to let her take over. So we're ready to start. I'm very excited to hear more about Expo 2020.
Great. Thank you, Maithili, and thank you to the CBC Dubai for including me in today's celebration. As I mentioned, or as Maithili mentioned, it's a big day. It's my day, International Women's Day, and I'm using this opportunity to promote all kinds of different initiatives that Canada stands for and Canada offers. I'll tell you a bit about those in a second, but today I really want to focus on something that's near and dear to our heart here in Dubai, which is Expo 2020, now going to be in 2021. So let me just start by saying Happy International Women's Day. It's great to be a Canadian woman. It's so many reasons to be thankful. We have a feminist prime minister. We have a feminist foreign policy. We have strong representation in our cabinet, including our Minister of Finance is a woman. We have so many policies and approaches and mechanisms that support women in Canada that precede so many other countries. And I'll just use one small example of our parental benefits. Especially if we compare ourselves to our neighbors to the south, Canada has a long-standing commitment to supporting women who want to take time off work to have babies, to stay at home with their children. And now that benefit is extended to fathers as well. So it's a parental benefit that we can take advantage of for a year, and it's the type of initiative that our government affords us so that we can not only be good mothers and good women at home, but also to re-enter back into the workforce. And I'm really glad that we are kicking off today with Women in Business Connect, because I think what's really important today is we just start to focus on what we can do as Canadian women here in Dubai. And I think there's no better opportunity than to use the Expo as an opportunity to really gather ourselves and put down some really strong roots on how we can connect. And as Diana said, leave a legacy. Now, I know a lot of you have heard about Expo over the last 2 years. I've spoken about it. I just want to come back and maybe just refresh people about what's going on, what you can expect, let you know that we are on track. And I'm just going to, if you don't mind, show a few slides to do that. So I'm just going to share my screen here and assuming that's going to work. And I will start with not that one, but this one.
It's perfect.
Great. So I'll just make it a little bigger. So here we go. Let me just see how this works. Okay, hold on a second. Great. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Canada's trade diversification strategy and why Expo is so important to us. I'm going to tell you about our presence at Expo, the physical structure, the pavilion, and a virtual strategy that we have. Spend a little time talking about our thematic for our pavilion, the future in mind. Talk about some of the initiatives that are already in place for Canadian women in Expo 2020, and then actually share with you an appendix of existing events that might get us thinking about what Canadian women can do at Expo, in addition to what we've already talked about. So I don't need to tell you that Dubai is the gateway to the GCC and the Middle East, Africa, South Asia region. We are really privileged to have this position here for our Canadian businesses. It is a business and innovation hub. And really, if you look at what's happened over the course of COVID, we can all be really grateful that we've been here in Dubai, in Abu Dhabi, in the UAE, because really there have been so much leadership and so much innovation and been on the forefront of the COVID recovery. And it continues to be an amazing place for Canadian businesses to come and do business and export products from. We know, of course, that this is a progressive country, that there is a thirst for innovation and high-tech solutions, and we know that Canada has a lot of those tech solutions that we can offer. And we consider this market really important for trade diversification for our Canadian companies. You know, Canada is an exporting nation. We rely on exports for our economy in the same way we rely on immigration for our economy. We have to be open in order to be competitive. And of course, as I mentioned earlier about our neighbor to the south, US is our primordial market. That's where most Canadian companies go and do their exporting. That's where they try out new markets. But we have a real need to diversify that market. We can't only count on one primary market. So we've spent a lot of time over the last few years diversifying our market. And this Dubai as an outpost for the Miasa region is one of our main diversification areas. And the other thing that we can take advantage of here in the UAE is not only that it is a great market, but we already have a large, substantial group of Canadian companies that exist here. Over 150 large-scale Canadian brands that are here. I don't have to name them because you know them. Alice Dawn, Tim Hortons, Aldo Shoes, all the architecture and design firms we have here. And in addition to that, a very strong Canadian diaspora community. Over 40,000 Canadians living and working here in the UAE. Some of them in their own business, some of them you know from CBC Dubai, but some of them you have no idea. They are embedded in some of the top organizations and really leading and advising senior leadership. So we have a really great foundation to build our trade diversification strategy on. So Expo, well, we were all expecting it to have started in October 2020, and of course that was not meant to be this year. But Expo is happening. It is still being called Expo 2020, but it actually is starting in October 2021. And we are really excited because we think that Expo is actually going to be a great celebration. It's going to be the first time that the world really does convene post-COVID. The Expo organizers are expecting an abundance of people to come. I don't know if they'll hit their original 25 million target, but they're putting all the plans and procedures in place to welcome people. It's the reason you've seen a lot of conferences go on here. Recently, they had the IDEX conference in Abu Dhabi. They had Gulf Food. They are doing everything. These are all practices. These are all preparations for welcoming the world to Expo. But in addition to the physical presence, we don't know what we are to expect in October. So we are also making some contingency to have virtual plans. The Expo site will have some virtual plans, and our pavilion will have some virtual plans. And we believe, and we've been testing out our models, if you've participated on them, is our trade commissioner service will have a commercial space, a virtual commercial space to engage stakeholders in, regardless of whether or not companies come and do business physically here. So I'll give you an example. At IDEX, we had originally expected, it's an event that happens every 2 years. We were expecting 100 Canadian companies to come, or sorry, maybe 50 in our pavilion and 100 maybe total. But of course, they couldn't come. Canadians can't travel right now. It's not conducive for them to travel. So instead, we had we still had our pavilion. We had the companies come. We had a physical presence, but we added to that a virtual component where we actually had over 100 Canadian companies doing B2B on the margins of IDEX. So what we also are testing out is to make sure that even if companies and people can't come here, and if we can't have trade missions come here physically, that we will have the capacity to still connect people with business opportunities during the entire Expo. So our pavilion has progressed. It is beautiful. That is a rendering of it that you see there, but that's pretty much how it looks. It's a beautiful round drum-shaped building. It has an ode to the local culture here with a beautiful mashrabia on the outside of it. Mashrabia, sorry, I get that name wrong all the time. But all made of Canadian wood. It is really beautiful. It's situated in the sustainability pavilion. It's located just on the edge of the Jubilee Park, and it's a really beautiful walkway, treed walkway At the end of it, you see our beautiful pavilion emerge. And as I said, it's right beside a very large park where there's going to be all kinds of musical events, cultural events, people socializing, and we think it's going to be a big attraction. So there's basically two spaces of the pavilion. There's going to be the public space and the private space. So basically people will come in here, and all of this yellow area here is the public space. And basically that is going to be the public presentation is a 5 to 7 minute movie. It's going to tell a story about our thematic. And our thematic is the future in mind, as I've mentioned. And it's really inspired by our commitment to really embrace diversity, inclusion, and human rights and gender equality. And using that as a foundation to build a very prosperous, inclusive, and innovative world. And we really want to showcase at our pavilion that Canada is a global leader, we're an innovator, we're a collaborator. We lead in all kinds of important worldwide initiatives like climate change, sustainable economies. And we also, it's a trade and investment expo. We really also want to present to people that Canada is an ideal place for business. It's a great place for investment. It's a great place to go to school, to visit, and also to immigrate. And so the story that anybody who comes to the Canada Pavilion will get is going to be shown in this movie. It's a 5 to 7 minute presentation. People will queue up outside and then they will exit. The other amazing part of our pavilion is we have this business center on this side. So there's a few renderings of it, but there's a number of spaces in it. I'll tell you just a little bit about them in a second. Let's move to the next slide. So we have a business center. We have a series of boardrooms. We have a kitchen where we will be providing Canadian cuisine. We will bring chefs in. We will bring Canadian products in. There will be a networking lounge, a conference center, a terrace, and all of this area, all of this business area will be accessible to partners free of charge. So any Canadian company, organization that wants to use the Canada private side, the business side of the pavilion can book it in advance. There is no cost to you. The only cost you pay is any pass-through costs that you would have to pay for any kind of hospitality you would want to expend. But as I said, it's a full state-of-the-art conference facility that is open to us. So our plan is to really use existing events that are happening in Dubai, and then to leverage the Canada Pavilion to continue to tell our stories outside of those events. So as I said, the thematic is the future in mind. Three main components of that are diversity is our strength, and it's our source to build resilient economies, communities, and societies. And you know that Canada is diverse, not just in its culture, but in its the languages that we speak, the people that we attract, our respect for women, our respect for Indigenous communities. This is the story that we want to tell in terms of our diversity. But we also know that Canada is well known for its technologies and innovations. And so we want to couple our diversity with our innovation to really leave a legacy of a sustainable, peaceful, and prosperous world for the future. And so all of our programming is going to be built around those thematics. And as I said, we are going to have a very strong commercial focus. So all of our thematics, all of our major things will be built around commercial interests. So for example, for diversity, we'll be focusing on initiatives around creative industries to show our diversity in creativity and culture, show our diversity and innovation across the whole spectrum of all the technologies that we have to offer, our international education, our women entrepreneurs, and we will also be promoting our Aboriginal entrepreneurs. And in terms of the actual opportunities that we're going to take advantage of over the course of the Expo, these are existing events and some newly created events that we have established. So we already know that the NAJA Education Fair will happen, and we will use the opportunity to use our Canada Pavilion to bring people to educate them on what the value proposition is for Canada and try to recruit students at the same time. The same thing for our Creative World Congress on Creative Industries. We are going to use the event that is happening in Sharjah to attract our creative industries to come, but then we will also use our Canada Pavilion to continue to tell our story, to extend hospitality, to meet people, to do business, and to add a different dimension to our offering. In terms of the technologies and the innovation we're going to showcase, It's going to be very focused on our strengths, which are life sciences, technology, artificial intelligence. And again, the ones that align extremely well here in Dubai are around healthcare, aerospace, defense and security, fintech, e-commerce, green building, and ag tech. And again, all kinds of opportunities existing that we can draw from, that will include the air show, Arab Health, GITEX. It's the same events that we do every year, but this year we're going to add an extra special component to them by using not only the pavilion, but other events that are happening on the site to link companies with business opportunities, to link different countries together, and to showcase what Canada has to offer. And then there'll be a whole thematic around our future. And our future is part of our legacy, what we will leave in terms of our space expertise, our energy, our clean tech, our forestry products. And really, Canada has an amazing story to tell in terms of what we believe in terms of sustainable, peaceful, and prosperous future for the world. And that's the story we're going to tell, not only at these major trade events that are going to happen, but also at our Canada Pavilion. Whoops, sorry, wrong way. So let's bring it back to women. So basically what we've done over the last 6 months during this sort of quiet period, as we've reframed and refocused, is we've gone out to a number of business communities across Canada and to see what people are interested in. So we're already building trade missions with, for example, the Canada Arab Business Council, with the provinces of Alberta, Saskatchewan, who have different business priorities here, and we're helping them to basically articulate what their trade missions, whether they're virtual or in person, can look like. We're also going out to, through our own department and through women's organizations in Canada, to talk about what our presence for women will be at Expo. And I'm just going to drop a few ideas, and then what I want to do is really open it up for questions and ideas that you may have, because I know that the business councils have already started thinking about what that might look like. But just a few ways that Canadian women can get involved in Expo 2020 is, first of all, as I've already said, use the Canada Pavilion for VIP events for your own business. No matter what it is, that area is open to you. Use it as a place to welcome people, to showcase Canada, to provide a VIP experience to partners, to clients, to companies that you're trying to woo to your business. It is there for you. We are also running 3 trade commissioner service initiatives around business women and international trade. The 3 thematics we have already are in clean tech, technology, and women in male-dominated industries. So that would be women in construction, women in energy. Those trade missions are already happening. You can take advantage of them as a participant, or you can take advantage of those trade missions by welcoming those women as they come and enter the market here, and partnering with them and sponsoring them and mentoring them. You can, I'm going to show you a list of initiatives at the end. If there's nothing on that list that you like, you can curate your own initiative in collaboration with us. I'm working right now, for example, with a cultural organization. They want to launch a cultural TED Talk type initiative in the Canada Pavilion to talk about all the cultural expertise that Canada has to offer, and they might line it up with one of the main events that is happening in the UAE, but it might just be their own series, and that's okay too. We'll also be looking for volunteers for events, and Kiko, who I will introduce you to in just a second, is starting to amass a list of names of people who just want to be on site to help out of the Canada Pavilion once in a while, or in any sort of concerted area. And there's probably going to be, and I don't know exactly how that's going to shape up, but paid jobs as well for people on site to do different jobs. I'm just not sure how that's going to turn out yet. It really depends on how many of our staff can actually travel from Canada to work at the pavilion. Will depend on how many people we need to hire locally. And of course, as always, be active on our social media channels to promote what we're doing. So the key priorities under Canada's feminist foreign policy that we're focusing on, as I've talked about, are anything to do with business women in trade, anything to do with gender equality. We will be launching our Global Mentors program over the course of Expo, which will be 10 very targeted mentors that we are going to be finding throughout the Gulf region to be able to mentor what's the word I'm looking for? Not functioning, that's not the right word, but our high capacity companies to help them navigate the market. And 50% of those mentors are going to be women. So I think I will leave it at that. I'm just going to show you this final slide, which is the theme weeks. These are the theme weeks that are already happening at Expo. In addition to all the major conferences that are happening, these are the theme weeks. So if you're working in a business that's aligned with one of these thematics, this would be a good week for you to participate in a program or to curate your own program. Tolerance and Inclusivity Week is, of course, a great week to be talking not only about multiculturalism in our Indigenous communities, but also about the role of women in the world. So those are the Expo theme weeks, and I will send you guys that after, and I'll send you guys this whole presentation after. We are already starting to curate a commercial agenda for every single month of Expo, aligned around our Expo themes, our different focus areas, and some of the anchor events that I've spoken about. So for example, December, the Expo theme is going to be, it's the Golden Jubilee that year. It's going to be the UAE's 50th anniversary. The focus area for us that month is going to be creative industry and women entrepreneurs, technology, clean tech. Here are some of the events that are already happening, but there's no reason why we cannot curate other events over the course of the month. And then the final slide I want to leave you with is this one. And again, I will send it to you. It's a list of contacts for all of these events that I've mentioned so far today that are happening, with a point of contact at our consulate or at our embassy of someone that you can get in touch with if you want to participate, depending on the type of business that you have. And there are a number of events that are in the pipeline, but there's more events that can happen, and we're just really looking for great ideas. So I am going to, I think, leave it there. And as I said, I will share the presentation with you. And really what I wanted to do was just whet your appetite, bring you up to speed on what's going on with Expo, and just get your views, get your questions, what questions of clarification you have, and how can we support women and leave a really important lasting legacy for women after Expo 2021. So that's my shtick. Maithili, I don't know who's next.
Well, actually, I would like to, oh, sorry, go ahead, Diana.
I'm just giving everyone a forewarning. So I think I can officially open up the mics and open up the videos for those that want to be on video. Obviously, you turn off your own video if you do not want to be seen. So if you're Zoom ready, please do it. And then Maithili, maybe you could, while I'm doing that, you could intervene. Okay, thank you.
So I just wanted to kick off the questions and ask you, what is your favorite part about Expo 2020? Like your personal thing that you're the most excited about?
I love the pavilion, honestly. I think it's such an amazing representation of who we are as a country. It's kind of blends the old and the new, the past. It'll bring in our past, it'll bring in our future. It stands for Canadian values. It's really a symbol of who we are as Canada, and I just love it. When you see it, you're going to love it. Okay. So that's one thing I really love, and the thematic really is so wide, and it affords us so many opportunities to talk about all the things that make us a great country, and I'm just really inspired by it. And if I may just introduce one person before I forget. So if not for this one person, all of what I've told you would not be happening. She didn't actually physically build the pavilion. Another group did that. But the person who's responsible for the heart and soul of the Expo programming is Akiko Nazuka, sorry. She's on the line, and if Akiko is Zoom ready, we'd love to see her beautiful face so I could wish her a happy International Women's Day. Hi, Akiko. This is the woman who is the heart and soul of our Expo programming. She knows everything that's going on, and I'm probably going to be deferring questions to her any second, so she should be ready. And ably supporting her on the line is Nicole Harbayer. She has been also cultivating our programming for Expo. These are the two women that you need to know to continue to work with over the course of Expo. So I just wanted to make those introductions. Thank you, ladies, for being here.
Thank you so much. Can we open up the floor to any questions?
Yeah, I would love, anyone have any questions about anything? No question too big, too small. And you can ask me anything, even if it's not about the pavilion.
Well, I'm going to start because I actually put out onto our social media channels, we said, ask anything. So they want to know what was the most difficult thing in trying to show how important it is to have Expo here, especially for women. So what about, I can throw that to both. I saw Kiko move her head, so we got both of you could answer this.
I'll tell you, this is a legacy story, and it involves the CBC Dubai, so I'm happy to tell this story. The hardest part about getting to this point is that 2 years ago, just 2 years ago, we did not have a mandate for Expo. We did not have a department that was responsible for Expo. We hadn't done an Expo in 10 years. We were out of the Expo business. We had no money, we had no leadership, and we had no vision. And so the hardest part, and this goes back to before I even came to Dubai, and this, I'll tell you this little anecdotal story. I didn't even know what an Expo was in 2018. All I know was I was going to be the Consul General in Dubai. And I happened to be walking down the hallway one day in the right place, the wrong time. I'm not sure what the deal was. And I saw the woman who was to be my boss. And she said, "What are you doing this summer?" And I said, "Well, I'm going to French language training, and then I'm going to Arabic training, and then I'm going to be the Consul General in Dubai." She says, "I have a special project for you. It starts tomorrow." I said, "No, you don't understand. I'm going to French language training. My bags are packed. I'm going to Jean-Pierre. I'm going to go to Arabic training after, and then I'm going to Dubai." She says, "No, I have a project that I think you are the only person who could help us with." And I said, "Okay, fine." She said, "If you do this project, I will let you go to Nice and do your French language training if you do it this summer." Now, I never got to go to Nice. I got to go to Montreal for 1 week. But anyhow, I said, "What is it?" She says, "You need to get a mandate for Expo, and you need to convince the Prime Minister and the cabinet that it's a good idea." And so I spent the entire summer trying to figure out what an Expo was, who knew anything about it. There was no archive, there was no corporate memory. And between June and August of that year, me and a small team hustled to get the $40 million that we needed to build a pavilion and be represented at Expo, because up until 2018, we were not coming to Expo. Can you imagine this Expo and Canada not being there? So that was the biggest challenge. And in that short amount of time, after having gotten the money, et cetera, we actually built a pavilion, an entire building. And if you ever tried to do that in government, you have no idea how complicated it is. Not only do you have to tender and the legal and the details, you had no idea. And during COVID, we built a pavilion. So really, it's a miracle that we're here. And that the hardest part was getting the buy-in and the money, but everything after that has been amazing.
Well, I love that.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention one thing. I didn't do that on my own. The actual impetus for the participation of Expo were Canada Business Council Dubai and the Canada UAE Business Council. These were the strong voices that connected back with political decision makers at home, that really made people understand that if we didn't come to the wedding of the century, we were never going to be invited to another event again. And it was the voices, and it was the pushing, and it was the lobbying, and it was the talking to the political leaders that really made the government stand up and do this. Otherwise, no one would have listened to me. So it was the CBC Dubai, the CUB, Canada UAE Business Council, that basically paved the way for that to happen. So I really want to pay tribute to business councils.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing the story. We just assume this happens overnight, but it's good to know the behind the scenes. Can I ask if anybody else has a question?
Yes, I would like to ask a question.
Yes,
Sure.
please.
Welcome.
Hi. Well, thank you very much for this presentation. It was very interesting, and to know that there's a chance and there's a voice for Canadian women at Expo. Just to understand better concretely, how can we be informed of what's needed, because we're a couple of months away from Expo. There probably almost everything is done, but is there any platform, or how can we know and propose our help? The slide suggesting the events and all this is very helpful, but can we be, just a question of efficiency, is there a way that you can recommend us to follow, or to just to know and propose our services and so on?
So there's a couple things. First of all, I just want to apologize that we haven't been as good as we should be in creating the platforms that we need to engage people. I'm going to throw it over to Akiko in a second, but what I think will start happening now is we are collecting, we're using our social media channels. We are, but we're also collecting names and addresses and creating mailing lists so that we can keep in touch with people as events occur, as we need people to be sort of more up to the minute information on what you need. So for example, we might say one day, we are looking, and I've talked about a little bit about this with Maithili, we really want to get students to the Canada Pavilion. We think that's like a quick and easy win to get people. So we might do a call out one day that says, anybody who's working in an educational facility, we are going to be running, we are going to be creating a learning component on Canada. We're looking for people to push it out into their schools. We are looking for people to organize school trips to come to Expo. Please, please, let us know if you can support us. So there'll be, and again, the other thing is, this is the UAE, everything comes together at the last minute. We are no exception here. A lot of these things will come together at the last minute, so we do appreciate your patience. But Akiko, I'm going to ask you, in terms of our communications mechanisms, what is the best way to collect people's information and communicate back out to people when we have initiatives, calls to action, requests, and information that we want to share? Either yourself or Nicole maybe answer that.
Thank you, Ambassador, for the opportunity to share a few ideas that Nicole and I have. For businesses, as many of you may be already connected with trade commissioners or not. So what Ambassador has provided a list of the activities. There's a list of trade commissioners of each of the sectors. So this probably is the best way if you have a businesses where you would like to be connected and do collaborative work with the trade commissioners. For recruitment in terms of a paid job, it's still coming. It's not done deal yet, actually, and we are not only country who is in this situation because of COVID, the travel restrictions, what have you. So we are currently looking into actually recruiting more from local, tapping into local diaspora and expertise. So it's more to come. I also would like to know what your interests are. We know our interests are, but we haven't heard, it's our fault. We haven't engaged yet as to much, a broader spectrum of Canadians here. So this is our job to do that. We are benchmarking our 6 months to go in April. In order to do that, best way is, I think right now I'm thinking about creating a larger, broader WhatsApp group, something very casual where I can get words out. You can share some information with other colleagues, other people who are genuinely interested in Canada. And then we may go to specific events and stuff like that. Like Ambassador said, if there's education day where we directly engage many students who are looking into studying Canada, we directly have your help in sharing your experience in studying Canada, for example. We direct to have another day on maybe women and girls. That's something that we direct to engage public at Expo site. So we do have few ideas that we are simmering right now, and would love to be able to share that, because together we make much stronger program. So I direct to propose that my email address is available to all of you, and please let me know what form of involvement you would like to be involved from a business perspective, more as a Canadian business people or businesswomen, or more voluntary basis, or you have like something specific expertise that you would like to discuss with us to expand it and curate perhaps initiative together. Nicole, with that, would you like to add something?
And Hint, maybe I could just ask you if you want to if you have a specific ask, what it is, and maybe we could just try to.
I'm just, I'm very glad of this conversation. Just that, unfortunately, I've been here for almost 8 years now, and before Expo was before Dubai One Expo and after, and it's been such a difficult path just to try to, we're in I'm a partner in a company in augmented and virtual reality, so that's something that is quite in demand even during the Corona situation. So but it's been difficult, the channels to communicate, to propose our services, to like we do, but no one will really listen, and I'm sure they are bombarded. We're not the only ones. I understand that, but
when you say they, do you mean the Expo site writ large, or is it for at the consulate or the embassy?
No, the Expo, because I didn't actually, to be honest, I didn't know that that the consulate had such initiative. So it's a great surprise to learn of that. And so that's one thing. And the other thing is, as a Canadian, it's to want to participate and help in the best way we can. Whether it's for, I understand there's not as many outdoors, events face to face and all that, but whatever ways we can collaborate. And I guess that the other people may think the same way. It shouldn't be that difficult to give volunteering work, volunteering time. It's our time that we would like to share with you and with whoever can benefit of our expertise and experience. So it's really two things. So if there's any way or anything we can do to help, we'll be more than happy to do so,
So two things, and then we'll move to the next question unless Nicole wants to add it, is that there are a number of ways to get in to the Expo site writ large. They have a number of portals. If you haven't used them yet, they are tendering things. But if you have something that's really unique, again, you can speak to Akiko, and we can try to promote that in some special way through our channels that we have. And the other thing is we will be a lot better at communicating out and having conversations, so that when we do need things, we will be able to get them. And the other mechanism is I want to use the CBC Dubai, because they have a huge reach. And it's a great way to get messages out really quickly. So we will do better at communicating out. And as a follow-up to this conversation, we will be sending out some information to everyone about how to get your product and service into the Expo marketplace, how you can reach us, and who you should reach out to. So I see Nicole's putting some information in the chat, but we'll follow up with everybody who is on this. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and thank you, Marcy, for mentioning that. Is exactly why, and I'm sure Maithili can also enhance on this, is one of the reasons why we have the Connect groups. So just reach out to us. That's what we're here for. And this is what today we're probably all on our best behavior and whatever. it is going to be a monthly, bi-monthly group, as needed group, so that we can get the information out to the needed part, needed people. Either we're having good times or not so good times. That's what we're here for. We're here to connect and support each other. You have no idea how much the trade office helps us every day, and the embassy helps us in every day. So even if it seems like you were saying we're not as physical, but we're going to get to a point where we can be hybrid and physical. And nonetheless, that didn't stop us. Look, we're all pretty much Zoom ready today. So I'm so proud of you. So Nicole, let me leave it to you.
No, I think everything's been well covered. I just want to echo the gratefulness. So we're very thankful that there are so many people who want to use their time and expertise to be part of Expo and to showcase what Canada has to offer. So thank you for that. Obviously with the pandemic, there's been a bit of uncertainty and a bit of reshuffling for everybody, right? And that's impacted us and our plans and forced us to adapt. So perhaps we are a little bit slow in getting the information out, but I did just put an email address in the chat as well if you have something trade specific. If you don't see it in the programming the programming that's in the deck, and it doesn't necessarily fit there, as the ambassador said, we can find a way to hold those events and make it fit, and we can put you in touch with the right person. So if you don't see the name there, if your sector initiative isn't the perfect fit, we'll find that for you.
Good. And it's the reason why I wanted to have this conversation today, and I wanted to focus it on Expo, because this is really the launch of some of the most interactive conversations that we are finally having. As Nicole said, we have had to reinvent ourselves over the last 6 to 8 months. And, as Kiko said, April 1 is our 6-month countdown. In UAE terms, 6 months is a lifetime. So be patient, be ready, and we're coming at you.
Thank you so much. Robin, I believe you had a question?
Yes, thank you very much. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. My question is, I'm in Abu Dhabi, and I am going to be doing a presentation next week for CBC Abu Dhabi Business Council. But what I'd like to know is, how do I get involved with everyone? It would be really nice to have a way to connect with CBC Dubai and the Canadian Women's Business Group. This is all new information to me, and I'm so excited. I've been here for 15 years, but I didn't know about this until now. So
wow.
I would love to be involved. I teach at Zayed University. I teach business communication, and that is something that
we need that skill. Great. Well, there's I'm really glad you connected today, and
me too.
So this obviously is an amazing forum. The CBC Dubai writ large, this particular Connect group, but there's many Connect groups. There's also the CBC in Abu Dhabi, if you don't know that organization, and of course there's the embassy, and so a lot of our stuff is on social media. So maybe that's something else we can follow up with, is just how to find us. We're very avid on LinkedIn, we're on Twitter. If you want to know what's going on with us, we are an open book on those channels. So,
and Robin, we actually work, we play, as I say, we play very well with all our sister councils. And so we actually have another meeting tonight with the other 2 councils in Canada as well. So please just be part of it. The Connect group, all of the Connect groups are all vital. Maithili has, oh my God, I get goosebumps when I say your name, Maithili. You have made this rock. We actually have a wonderful gentleman, Ruda. I still think he's hiding in the background, and he has been doing such an amazing job. The counselor sections have been getting us such amazing people to speak with, but it's you guys here that make it, okay? Just by showing up, by asking your questions, by participating, you're our real network. So please just take part when you can. We'll try to get it out ahead of time. We have one April the 7th already, where we have actually the former CEO of Roots Canada, Almira. She is going to be speaking about life in general and how you can go on. We have some amazing other people here. So I'm going to, because I not that I have favorites, but I do have a favorite, my girlfriend Lucy, who happens to be on today too. You have no idea what amazing group you have here. Every one of these women, you can just literally call up in 1 second, going, can you give me and they, before you say a hand, they just said yes. Lucy has been all today on Gulf News. She's actually did a wonderful article, a little regarding how amazing we are as Canadians. We also have got Katrina, who she's not. I don't think she could be on today too. So we're all having our voice heard. We can all be part of a legacy, and we can all be part of Expo in one way or another. So please just connect. Thanks.
On that note, actually, Lucy has a question. So Lucy, I'll let you go.
I want to see the beautiful blonde Lucy.
Yeah, here I am. Good morning,
so good
ladies.
to see
Thank
you.
you so much. Yeah, so good to see you too.
Yeah.
I've got like some of my favorite ladies on this call. This is pretty awesome. I wanted to ask, and I know Kiko's been working so hard on this. I don't know if you can answer this in a short soundbite, but we've got all the other nations around us. And I did see where our pavilion's placed. I mean, we're right next to Singapore, for instance, and Norway. What are the plans for collaborating with just all these other trade groups that will be in these other pavilions?
Cool. Well, we are building a lot of relationships, not just with our neighbors, but with our like-minded countries, with the countries that are part of some of our UN initiatives, that are part of our trade corridors. And Akiko is actively working on the ground, and I'll let her tell you a bit more about that, with each of the commissioner generals that are here to make sure that we can collaborate to the extent possible. So for example, our Indigenous programming will be working closely with New Zealand. For our innovation programming, we'll be working closely with Israel. But Akiko, I don't know if you want to say any more about how we are going to connect on site with our neighbors and partners.
Thank you. So this is something Nicole and I have been doing very actively to basically not miss out any opportunity that is happening at the Expo site. So as Ambassador rightly pointed out, I call it the extended like-minded countries actually meet almost every 6 weeks or so to continuously exchange ideas and the collaboration ideas. I can guarantee that Canada is actually not behind in terms of planning. Because of COVID, everything we planned last year basically fell in the water. And each country has specific unique challenges caused by Expo. For example, Canadian, Australian, and New Zealand, we are more conservative side in terms of traveling restriction and etc. So within that, the on-the-ground collaboration became more important. So this is something we are discussing, and not only discussing, but taking action in how we do it. We call it horizontal collaboration amongst international participants. Another layer is bilateral. I call it bilateral innovation days. So with specific countries where Canadian economy has genuine interest with, we are reaching out to them, triangulating our relationship. That means ourselves and our missions in, let's say, in Tel Aviv, and my counterpart, Expo counterpart of Israel Pavilion, to come up with the collaborations, either cultural, either people to people, and of course businesses. So these discussions are undergoing, and we don't have calendar as to show with you because of the travel restrictions. Securing leaders traveling schedule these days is a challenging. However, we started to have concrete themes where we'd like to collaborate with. So if you have any particular interest, again, please do send me email. I seriously saying, please do contact me and Nicole. We'd like to engage you and have specific discussion about that. And the engagement doesn't stop at adult level. Your children, students, your adult the children who are genuinely interested in being Canada at the Expo. We are thinking about all levels of different engagement. So please don't hesitate to share your ideas.
Yeah, if you have an idea, a specific idea, Lucy, just let us know, because you probably have partners in parts of the world where you think that we can make a strong impact together. Just let us know. Another example, illustration is the Netherlands. The focus of their theme is on water. So of their pavilion is about water. So where Canada wants to showcase its expertise in sustainability or water preservation, etc., we'll be partnering. So everyone is doing something a little different. We are trying to connect the dots to the extent possible through our connections. But if you have an idea, if you have a country you want to partner with for a specific thing, any idea is welcome. And that's really why we wanted to have this, was to get you to start thinking about how can I be part of the Canada Pavilion at Expo? What ideas do I have? And just get those flowing to start to build things. So we might do a Dragon's Den type thing or a Shark Tank.
I'm in.
You're in, yeah, exactly. You're already in. We already selected you, so thank you. And maybe that's an international thing. I don't know, but I mean, there's just, the possibilities are endless. Tout est possible. So you have great ideas, just let us know.
I just wanted to be mindful of your time. We have 2 more questions. Do you have time for that, or should they email Nicole or Akiko?
Let me see if we can take them really quickly, and we'll try to at least touch them, and we'll follow up otherwise. But I don't want to leave any questions on the table, because today was supposed to be about questions.
Yeah, perfect. So Gina, do you want to go ahead?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
I had the opportunity.
Hi, Gina.
Hi, how are you? I had the opportunity to visit the Expo Hanover in 2000 and the Expo Milan in 2015.
Yes.
Yes. And I remember, I was young at that time in Expo Hanover. I remember the Pavilion of Canada being a huge teepee. They brought a huge teepee that really stayed in my mind, and it made a stand out. And I don't remember the pavilion in Canada at the Expo Milan, but I remember the Hanover one.
We didn't have one at Milan. That's why you don't remember it.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got out of the Expo business.
Yeah, it was invisible.
Right. Yeah, Diana was there. She would know. Sorry, go ahead. Keep going, Gina.
That's why. So in this Expo here in Dubai, the topic or the theme of the pavilion is something that stands out as it was for the Hanover one.
Yeah.
For the idea.
Well, I mean, that's the goal. The goal of, a traditional goal of an expo is to design the most unique pavilion and have the most people come to it and have the most people talk about it. So that's always our goal. And we actually think that our pavilion does stand out a lot. You'll see a lot, the pavilions are beautiful, all of them. They're all very special in their own way, but ours has wood on it. It's circular, it's tasteful, it's heartwarming. It's going to tell an amazing story about Canada's history and leading us to the future. So we are really optimistic that we will leave a lasting impression. That is really traditionally the main goal why countries go, is to showcase and to leave a lasting impression. All the parts that we're talking about right now are the inside of the pavilion, how we operationalize it and how we make it an economic success. Because not all expos have been trade and investment expos, but this one really is. This is not just a culture expo. This is about doing business. So our goal is to really get some good deals done, connections made, in addition to showcasing that beautiful pavilion. So we hope not to disappoint you, Gina.
Thank you. And then we'll just wrap up with our last question from Zena.
Hi, Zena.
Me too.
We will have to have an art. We will have to have an art event, Zena, obviously.
Good morning, and thank you for the very nice explanation, and happy Women's Day for everybody.
Thank you.
Actually, my question was about art. Is there any chance for artists to participate and show their art? Okay, excellent.
Yes, absolutely. So as I've told you, I'm already speaking with Lord Cultural. Do you know Gail Lord from Lord Cultural? They actually designed part of our pavilion. They are big museum designers. They did the Louvre, the Etihad Museum. And Gail Lord really wants to have a showcase on Canadian culture. So there'll be a speaker series. But again, if you are a Canadian business and you want to showcase your product or service, there's no reason why you could not book the business center, showcase some of your work, invite clients to come, have a vernissage, whatever it is. The space is free. I don't know how many things you'll be able to hang on the walls necessarily, but you'll be able to showcase your art, and the only cost you would pay would be for the hospitality. So we really hope to see you. And again, diversity is our strength. We want to show people across the spectrum what Canada represents, and arts and culture is a really important part. We will have a soon hired cultural officer dedicated to Expo, who will be cultivating all of our cultural programming, and we hope to have that person on board in the next couple of months.
Okay, thank you so much.
But I do hope to see you and your artwork there.
I will. Probably I need to book the conference room at some point, and I'll bring my art. Yeah, thank you so much.
Beautiful.
Related to that question, are we at this point collaborating with any sort of Aboriginal or Native First Nations organizations in Canada to showcase some of their art?
Yeah, that is definitely in the mix. And the other thing we're trying to do is, if we are bringing artists or art from Canada, is to also find other places for them to showcase their work. So other galleries where they might, if they're going to come all this way, to showcase other galleries. But yeah, Aboriginal culture will be a part of it. We're in touch with the Aboriginal Business Council in Canada, and definitely that will be part of it.
Very cool.
Thank you so much. I really want to be mindful of everyone's time. So thank you so much to Nicole and to Akiko for all your work. So happy that I was able to meet you through this. Thank you so much to Her Excellency for joining us, and to everyone else. We are very excited. This is just the first event. Don't worry, Diana, I see you. I will let you add your things. I also wanted to say one more thing. Like Diana mentioned, we are making this a monthly support group. If you think, or a connect group, if you think there's any other topics you want to chat about, please feel free to reach out to me. Basically, you can email me at my first name at kinderpass.com, or you know what, easiest thing is just send me a LinkedIn request. I'm on LinkedIn, almost as much as Instagram. So we'll see you guys at the next event on April 7th. And Diana, you wanted to add something?
Thank you. That's all. Pretty simple. Thank you so much for taking your time, everybody. Thank you for that you're here. That's it. Pretty much easy. And happy International Women's Day,
everyone. Happy International Women's Day. Bye. Thank you.
Bye. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Yep.